Hello and welcome. This is Byron. Today I will be discussing the differences between an old apartment and a new apartment. So congratulations, so probably you have qualified for the loan that you have been applying for, or you've gotten some money and wish to invest in an apartment but you're not sure whether you should go for an old apartment or for a new apartment. This video is here to break it down for you and to help you to get more insights to make that decision. So welcome. So first and foremost, one of the most important differences between old and new apartments is the size. The older ones, because they were developed back then when there was no competition for land and there was not very many people living in those prestigious places, and you find that they are very spacious as opposed to right now, the ones that are coming up right now, where the value of land is very high, and to compensate for that, the developers have to really pack a lot of units in one development. So the spaces are not as big, and the apartments also, they are quite small as compared to the old ones. If you were to go for a new apartment, you should know that you are losing out on the space. So you'll have a much smaller unit as compared to the person who's going for a big apartment. Also, on common areas, you are going to have, and the older apartments, they have a lot of open spaces. They also have a lot of the common areas are also quite spacious. You find that the parkings, the children's playground, you find that there's a lot of space that has been set aside, as opposed to where there's new apartments and all that has been improved with the buildings. So other than the apartment itself, if you look at the common areas, you will notice that for the older apartments, there's the open spaces that are still available. You find that the parking, maybe they have enough for everyone and for the guests, and also because of the low population of the tenants or the owners who are living in the units, you can find an apartment having maybe two dedicated parking slots, and it's still enough for the guests. Whereas in the new apartments, you only find that an apartment has just one parking lot because of the high population, of course. You also notice that children's playgrounds are for the new apartments, you find that due to the lack of space, they have been pushed up to the rooftops. Whereas for the cold ones, you find that the children's playground is on the ground floor, maybe next to the parking, but it's very separate from the building. The playground is separate from the building. That is also an advantage for the older apartments where the children get their own place to play and to develop themselves. This leads us to the third point, which is on pricing. So generally, the old apartments are still considered to be much superior to the new ones by many people, and therefore you find that they are usually very pricey. Whereas the new ones, you'll see that the prices are very low because of the sizes and because the number of units, there are very many units. Therefore, for the developer to be able to dispose all of them within the time required, he has to set a price that is fairly manageable. And you also find that for the old apartments, because they have lower congestion, they have been converted to offices, and therefore they fetch higher rent as compared to the newer apartments, and therefore they are more expensive. Let's look at which areas the new apartments are considered to be superior to the older apartments. So first and foremost, we have the profitability, where the new apartments, because the capital required to purchase one is not very high, and yet they fetch a lot of the fairly high rental value. So you'll find that they are quite profitable if you compare the rent versus the amount that you spend to buy versus capital invested in the real estate. So they are very profitable as compared to the old lots. So many people go for them, people who are looking to invest in Airbnbs, and people who are looking just for rental properties. So on the same note, the turnover period for the new apartments is quite high. And this is basically the period between a tenant moving out and the next one coming in. They have many people preferring these new apartments and therefore it takes a very short time for a tenant to move in after one has moved out. This is not the same. This is not the case when you look at the old apartments where a tenant, the apartment itself may remain vacant for a very long time because it's the rent is really high, and also just that the people prefer the apartments with newer technology, and therefore they tend to shy away from the old ones and they go for the new ones. So the third reason why people consider the new apartments to be superior would be in the amenities. We are looking at things, we're looking at the swimming pools, we're looking at maybe the lifts, parking, the rooftops. Wherever you find that in the new apartments, they have really made a lot of effort to maximize on this. So whereas the older ones, they were mostly focusing on the sizes and the prestige back then, or the fact that it is close, it is nearer to town centers, to shopping malls, and the sizes themselves. Whereas right now, they are going for they are trying to make you more comfortable, so they are going for more amenities, and you find that the new apartments, of course, you're going to have more amenities as compared to the older ones. But this may not be the case for all old apartments, because some of them, they have gone an extra mile. They have those of them that do not have pools, you find that they have dug their own swimming pools. Some of them did not have the new technology, and you find that they have gone ahead and they have installed this. This may not be the case for all units, but just generally speaking, you'll find that new apartments have more amenities than the older ones. So this is going to lead us to the last point, which is on the service charge. So service charge is generally the amount that is paid in the managing company to take care of the general services in the compound, such as the cleaning and the gym and the swimming pool, maintenance of the compound, landscaping and such kind. So for the old apartment, because they have fewer amenities, they have going to have a much lower service charge, and whereas the new ones, they have a much higher, significantly higher service charge, because of the obvious reason that they have more amenities. And therefore, to the landlord, they're going to have to dig deeper into their pockets in order to take care of this, because service charge is something they cannot avoid. So that is going to be all for today. Thank you for watching, and crave for more content.